Hey, how's it going? Long time no speak. I don't make a ton of YouTube videos nowadays. You know that feeling of being pulled in, like, you're just pulled in all these different directions? Well, in many ways, that's kind of how I feel sometimes. You know, there's a business which I run, the Calgary Language Nerds, and helping people learn languages, teaching, but then there's so many priorities. I have tutors who work for me. There's the mission of actually guaranteeing fluency. There's the practicality of having to make actual money. Then there's all the psychological barriers, and there's just that feeling of just having all these things thrown your way, and you're like, ah. Well, it's kind of like that while you're on an exciting roller coaster. Imagine that feeling. Here you are, roller coaster going up, 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 click, 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 click. You're getting up to the top. All the emotions are coming. You get to the top. Vroom, you rush down. Wind's blowing by your ears, and you're clutching onto that harness that keeps you in the roller coaster while it zooms right and zooms left, and people are screaming around you, and you've got that feeling of your stomach up in your chest. And while all that's happening, which is you're having fun, but you're also terrified, and it's exhilarating, but also you're like, get me off this thing. And you feel like you're gonna fly out of your chair. While that's happening, there's all this stuff being thrown your way. There's delicious cake being thrown your way. You're like, yum, cake, that's amazing. But on the other hand, there's like lemons being thrown, and lemon juice hits your eyes. You're like, ow, that stings my eyes. That's like, that's in many ways how life feels. But at the same time, the entire experience is just incredibly rewarding. And that's in many ways that's just how it feels to be running a business. Like, think about this just on its own. Think about this. Like, think about the fact that you don't have a consistent paycheck, right? There's no consistent paycheck. You go to a job typically and you get that paycheck on every 2 weeks or every month or every week. You get that number, and it's that number. And running a business, I don't have that. I don't have a consistent paycheck. I'll be really open with you. Today's May. What is it today? May 21st, 12:56 p.m. May 21st. And in May, I've had 0 new students, I believe, in the month of May. In fact, I've even had 0 potential new students. It fills me on what, and again, it's this feeling of torn emotions, of multiple different emotions. On one hand, it's incredibly anxiety provoking. It feels almost jittery, and it feels scary, and it feels like I just have all these. I'll lay there just questioning myself sometimes, oh my god, am I on the right path, or am I just lost in the goddamn woods in the fog? Thinking I'm walking the right direction, but I'm really just walking towards the edge of a cliff, right? That's, on one hand, there's that feeling. And on the other hand, it's understanding that this is the path. That is the path. That is the path. And it was a conscious decision to not look for new students this month. It was a conscious decision. But hey, logic and emotion aren't always friends. It's like 2 little magnets. You're trying to push them together, but they don't want to be friends. Logic's over here and emotion's over here. So you make this logical choice of, this is what has to happen. It's not about finding students this month. Oop, my phone's shaking. It's not about finding students this month. It just isn't. I logically know the priority right now is not to find X number of new students this month. It's to go fix some internal issues and make a couple things better. I know that. But the emotions start to scream in fear and terror, like, Azrin, it's illogical. How will you eat? How will you look after your family? How will you pay for this? How will you do that? What if everything crashes and burns? You get into these, those what if loops. Many of you can relate to the what if loops, right? And yet, all in all, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. You're in that foggy forest. It's cold and damp, and there's, your feet are wet and ice cold, and you're shivering, and you're a little hungry because you ran out of food, and you're trudging through the forest. But then the sun rises and the fog dissipates, and you realize you've actually made it to the highway, and some friendly hitchhiker picks you up, and you end up back home next thing you know, and everyone gives you a warm hug, and you're eating food, and everything is just okay, and you realize, yes, it was indeed all worth it. And I don't know if this is making any sense. Maybe this makes sense in my head. I have no clue, but overall, that's just how things feel right now in the business. Overall, it's going really well, and I'm thrilled and I'm happy, and things are on the up and up. We really are, this whole guaranteed fluency journey. Do you know when this started? It started like I want to say 19 months ago, a little bit under 2 years ago. Yeah, a little bit less than 2 years ago. And it felt like this unclimbable, impossible to reach summit. It's like you get to a mountain, you have no gear, you're barefoot, nothing. And you're like, well, I got to climb Mount Everest. The wind's blowing, it's super snowy. I got to climb this mountain of guaranteeing fluency. Like, oh my goodness, how could one actually create a program that reliably leads to fluency? And I thought that's an impossible journey. And today it feels even closer than ever before. It really feels like I'm right. It's right there. It's much closer than ever. And we can see the progress. We can measure the progress. These students are getting better. They're actually doing it. They're actually doing it. There's actually that feeling of real meaningful progress. And it really does look like we can predict how long it takes people to get better. And there's a sense of confidence, clarity, and empowerment that's there now that just wasn't there before. So that's where things are at. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day. And yeah, we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.